I'm going to remember Bree as the funny one because I'm going to call her Bree.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant, though. I love that.
You're listening to the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast. I'm Sarah.
I'm Erin.
I'm Bree.
And I'm Rachel.
We have an additional lady in the Ladies Lounge today, which is super fun. It is a wild card episode because it might get a little wild. I'm not totally sure. Our pre-recording conversation got a little wild, so who knows where this is going to go today. Joining us, we have a very special guest, Debbie Larson, president of the LWML, in studio with us. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning. It's so good to be here.
It is wonderful to have you in studio. I know you've been at the IC a few times. We've gotten to see you here and at LWML events randomly in the last couple of years, but it's so great to have you on the podcast. I know a lot of ladies will love hearing the stories that you're going to be sharing with us today.
Can I just start by saying, Debbie, you have been like on our list of people we want to have on this show for like 3 years now, and our podcast is barely 3 years old. So I'm just so geeked that it finally worked out for us to get you here and have this conversation. So
this is truly a long overdue historic moment in Lutheran Ladies Lounge history.
Worlds are colliding today. It's
true.
Wonderful.
Dreams are coming through.
Historic before, but not in a good way.
Oh, man. So how did you get involved with the LWML? You're president now, so I'm assuming you've had a little bit of a history with LWML. They don't just like randomly find somebody.
They do. They pick us out of they just open a box and pick a name out. No.
She's Methodist, it turns out.
Scandal.
Not Methodist, but I did not grow up in the LCMS.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in another Lutheran church.
Okay.
So I didn't get involved in it's the Lutheran Women in Mission.
Yes.
So we always say LWML, which stands for Lutheran Women's Missionary League, but we go by Lutheran Women in Mission much more often.
Okay.
We went to, when I married my husband, he was LCMS. And as we began to go to church and get involved and be in Bible studies, a whole new world opened up to me. And it is incredibly exciting to be in the Word and to be around people that feel that same way. And it's encouraging and it holds you to account. Just really got involved. There was not a Lutheran Women in Mission group in Washington State. They had women's groups, but not that. And then we moved to Bismarck, North Dakota, and we moved to Houston, Texas. My husband worked in the oil industry.
Oh, okay.
And not till we moved back to North Dakota the second time did I see in the church bulletin that they were looking for a news editor for the district for LWML, for Lutheran Women in Mission. And that's what I did. I edited a small newsletter for NASA Bay, Texas. So I called and I said, I would love to do that. And that's how I got involved. So I got involved first at the district level, and then I became very involved in the local church group level. And I've been president of the district. I've been vice president of organizational resources. I've been the PR director. And so, kind of worked my way into where I am right now.
Very cool.
What does that say for leadership opportunities for women in the church? Because a lot of times, a lot of women in LWML just start the way that you did, finding something and then finding out that they're actually really kind of good at doing this stuff. What does that mean for women who might be kind of uncomfortable with the thought of like maybe actually having some sort of leadership position in LWML, but then you're able to kind of find those strengths in the organization?
I think what it means years ago, LWML was the place. If you wanted to be a leader, a woman and a leader, LWML was a very good place to be. I don't think that's true anymore as much.
Mhm.
And so you can be a leader in almost every organization.
Mhm.
So we see that used to be a real big draw, and we don't see that as the draw anymore. I think the big draw to being a Lutheran woman in mission is connecting with others that are on that same faith level that you are and give you that sense of belonging that we all need.
Yeah.
We all need.
So as to just clarify, once upon a time, if you were a Lutheran woman with a gift for leadership, LWML was pretty much the only game in town.
It was one of the only games in town. Yep.
And now that has changed. There are lots of opportunities for women with leadership gifts. And yet Lutheran Women in Mission is still a wonderful outlet for those gifts. And especially if you have, like we do, and like so many of our listeners do, this heart for helping Lutheran women connect with one another, grow in their faith, and find outlets for that faith. Did that pretty much sum up?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So I know that you were interviewed for our Lutheran Women's Quarterly.
Oh,
That
yes.
will be, it's because I just went through and read all of the new articles that will be in the next quarterly. Good job, ladies. But you said that a lot of times LWML women focus on mission throughout the world and the outward, to proclaim Christ to the nations. And that you, as the Lutheran Ladies Lounge, work more with connecting those women on a personal level. But I think the Lutheran Women in Mission do that also, because in order to proclaim the gospel, they have to know the gospel. They have to know Christ. They have to be in the Word. They have to be surrounded by women that are encouraging and that, again, hold you accountable. So I think that we've got a good, I think there can be a really good collaboration here.
Oh, I think so. I think we draw those distinctions partly because when we were first getting started, especially with our Facebook community, a lot of people just assumed that we were affiliated with Lutheran Women in Mission because you have such a reputation for being the group where Lutheran women get together and, fellowship and collaborate, that we had to no, we're not actually officially connected. A lot of LWML women hang out with us and we love what you do, but we're not them. And so but as we walk together and collaborate, I think more and more, it's really cool to see those missions align. As you say, we're all in this.
Yeah. A lot of churches in our synod say if you are a woman in the LCMS, you are automatically a Lutheran woman in mission. We don't govern how each local group exists or what their perimeters are. But some churches, you actually, if you go to their gatherings, if you do, then you are a member of that local group. I think it's different, but I believe you are all Lutheran Women in Mission.
Yeah.
Because what we do
Straight
is
from
we
the
support.
president.
I believe you are all. You do that.
I feel so validated right now.
Like, just got my honorary doctorate.
I can make up a certificate.
Yes.
Yes.
We would put that on Instagram if you made it.
Yes, we would.
So obviously there are many ways for women to exercise their leadership gifts, but I'm going to be honest, you probably have one of the coolest outlets for those gifts. So tell me what your life is like. Like, what's an average day or week or month or hour like in the life of an LWML president, which is a reality I myself cannot quite imagine. Tell us what it's like to be you.
Okay. Well, I am retired from any paying job, so that I do devote pretty much all my time to Lutheran Women in Mission, but it's almost an obsession.
We don't know anything about that.
So my mornings, I love my mornings. I wake up and my coffee's already made.
Yeah.
By my husband.
Very nice.
Coffee and devotion and time on the couch, not the pink couch.
Oh,
mine is blue.
That's okay. We'll allow it.
And so that's how I start. I usually start responding to emails about 8 in the morning. I try to complete LWML work by 4 or 5 in the afternoon until we get on our Zooms in the evening. I've been doing a lot of traveling. Of course, COVID caused an abrupt stop in that. So trying to make up for time. Love to go to different conferences, meet people and tell them about Lutheran Women in Mission. Mm-hmm. It is not it is not your grandmother's LWML. Actually, it is.
Mm-hmm. Good. I love that one.
We should be very proud of that.
Yeah.
That we have that legacy of women who begin to meet together because of a need to spread the gospel of Christ and to show his mercy to others. Back 1942, women were meeting well before that, but they were not accepted as an auxiliary of the LCMS until 1942. So that's 80 years. Wow. 80 years of spreading God's love. Mm-hmm. So there's mission inspiration, mission giving, mission education, and this is what we do, and mission service. Mm-hmm. And it's just amazing. So what do? I respond to a lot of emails. I take a lot but in each one, you're accomplishing something that is personal, that is not, you're not just responding to a business email. You're sending information to someone so that they can go and talk with somebody and tell them how they can serve God through serving others, or they can invite someone to a Bible study. So LWML is very personal. It's one-on-one. And so during COVID, our concern was that our groups were not meeting, and that it is amazing what these women came up, these innovative ways to reach those that were homebound. Well, we all were, but to reach those that are truly homebound and make sure that they had a connection with other Christians, but also they felt that connection with Christ, and they knew they weren't alone.
Mm-hmm. So obviously we understand sort of the greatest mission of Lutheran Women in Mission. Do you have any favorite memories or like scenes you keep in your back pocket so that when sort of the going gets tough, you can sort of think back, or you've encountered something where you sort of just breathe a sigh of relief and you're like, this is why I do what I do?
I wonder, not so much scenes, but people, women mentors that I can, when a tough situation takes hold, I can remember how they handled it, or how they taught me to handle it through watching them. So I think that, and we've got mentors, fabulous mentors, and they're not all older than me. I think that you can learn so much from young women that it kind of broadens your mind. Oh, do we want to do that? Broaden our mind?
What?
What? So yeah, I think it would be mentors. I think that I was in the grocery store line, and there was a little elderly lady in front of me writing out a handwritten check. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
The clerk was not happy. She was really snappy to this lady. And I thought, I am going to give her a piece of my mind. And then, so that lady finished and left, and I got up there. And you know how sometimes the Holy Spirit just says, no, you're not.
Yup.
I looked at her and I said, how are you today? You look a little flustered. And she started to cry.
Oh.
She said, I have a migraine and my manager won't let me take a break for half an hour. And so we sat and talked, and I thought, thank you, Holy Spirit. And that came from learning from mentors.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I am curious about, let me come at this question in a slightly roundabout way, maybe. You talk about my grandma's LWML, which I loved. I still love my grandma and my great aunts and their involvement. In fact, I have a great aunt who is still in leadership in LWML. And how has LWML's vision and focus shifted since 1942, when I think they were very much invested quite literally in raising money for foreign missions, that they had a very narrow focus at the outset? In what areas is Lutheran Women in Mission really working today? Like, what are your key focal points as an organization?
First of all, I don't believe that they were ever just focused on raising funds.
Okay.
I believe that the women started by helping in their church and community and serving and taking care of the needs there. And then during wartime, when it was very, very clear that there was a lot of orphans over in Europe, that's when the collective came together and wanted to do something together. And so to raise those funds and then to keep putting them in that pile until the funds were large enough to go ahead and support something worldwide. And I think that we still do that. We have, for instance, this biennium, our mission goal for this biennium, $2.15 million, I believe.
Wow.
Just, and that's the national mission grant. That's the mission goal. But if you looked at all of we have 40 districts. LCMS has 35 districts in there.
Yeah.
So, but we have 40 LWML districts throughout the United States. If you look at all of them together, they raised with their district mission grants and ours over $6 million in the last biennium.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I mean, it's just, and that's just in 2 years. So
That's wild.
It is wild. So that mission, our mission giving is a really big part of who the LWML is. In fact, if you ask somebody, we don't have one central focus. We aren't just mission giving. We are also mission inspiration, which is being in the Word, creating those resources to keep women in the Word, et cetera. And that is ongoing. Mission education and keeping them. And that's why when you come to the convention in Milwaukee in June, we will have what we call Mites in Action speakers. And they will talk about the mites. Okay. Can I back up?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I'm a squirrel, by the way. I can change the
No,
subject.
this is what we want. Go for it.
Our mites came from the widow's mites story in the Bible, where she gave all that she had to the Lord. And he said that was a greater gift than somebody else giving a large amount that they could easily afford. And to me, it's not even about the money. It's about the trust. It's about trusting God to take care of you so that you can bless others. We've been blessed. We are all incredibly blessed. Now we get to be a blessing to others. So your grandmother's LWML did the same things we're doing. We just need to do them, and we just need to be open to doing them in different ways. Zoom Bible studies, Facebook Bible studies, things that we would have never considered. And I'm quite sure during some of those Zoom and Facebook Bible studies, people are in pajamas.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Well, if you look back at the photos of the women back in 1942, we're talking heels and hose, dresses and gloves and hats.
Yes.
And so if things have changed, it's things that have changed with the times as far as what is acceptable and what is not, with clothing, whatever, that has changed. But I don't think our focus has really changed, and that's a really good thing. Our mission as Lutheran Women in Mission, we joyfully proclaim Christ, support missions, and equip women to honor God by serving others. Simple. And I don't think that has changed.
I am glad that you are intentionally bringing up mission inspiration and mission education, because I think a lot of people do. They see LWML, they see Lutheran Women in Mission. And even from my own vantage point as a fundraiser, like you sort of see them as, okay, they're this, huge juggernaut of a granting organization. But like in my experience, like on an individual level, I think that those focuses, the attention that
I like it. I'm going to use it.
Actually,
but the attention that you give to inspiration and education, and this is something that has never changed, is sort of when you're in the Word and you're encouraging each other and you're in prayer. I feel like that generosity and that trust is like an outflow. Like those are the fruits of sort of the theological side, we'll call it, like being in the Word and, having Bible study, things like that. So I think the generosity is sort of on the back end of the other activities that Lutheran Women in Mission sort of espouses.
Isn't that amazing how God works? He blesses us. We get to be a blessing to others, and we are blessed by that. And it goes back and forth.
Yep. It's a cycle.
Yeah.
I know.
I love it.
Well, it's thank you for answering the question in a much more intelligent and graceful way than I was actually able to ask it. But I really am grateful to you for elaborating what is different, but what is blessedly the same about the organization that we've always known.
And I tell all young women, and I'm one of them.
You are, though.
I tell all young women that this is your grandmother's LWML, and I won't apologize for that. We have an incredible legacy, but it can also be your LWML and your children's LWML, because you can accomplish the same things that God is asking us to accomplish in a new way. That's okay.
Pajama pants optional.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really glad you put the pajama word in.
Correct.
Thank you.
I realized as soon as I said that, I was like, Claire's going to cut that probably.
Yeah, probably.
Well, and I feel like the multi-generational piece is something that is more and more so unique about the church, and especially about the LCMS, in that we do span generations. And it's one of those rare times where you do get to really interact with people across so many different age groups on a very personal level outside of just your family. And I mean, for a lot of people, they don't have larger families. So it provides that opportunity to do that. And then the LWML is a sort of a microcosm of that with women.
It's wonderful. So back when my son got married and my daughter-in-law started coming to our group meetings at our church, this was back in North Dakota, all of a sudden she was inviting people, and we grew. And I said, stupidly, I suppose, to her one day, if you don't want to meet with all of us old ladies, you can actually have your own group. And she looked at me just offended. And she said, seriously? She said, we love to be with you. We fight by who's going to sit by Lena. Because they love to listen to her stories. And so, intergenerational. It's a really good thing.
I have a question for Sarah, actually. Debbie, you mentioned at the convention we could expect people to get up and talk about how their mites are in action.
Yes.
And I see where you guys are sitting right now. And my question for Sarah is, how has the LWML affected how KFUO is able to advance the gospel through podcasting in particular?
Well, funny you should ask, because we're using all of this new equipment that was funded by an LWML grant. I believe it was the last biennium.
It was.
Yes, and it took us a little, because COVID, supply chain, etc. It took us a little bit to get it all together. But yes, the studio that we are currently recording in has a whole new desk and a new soundboard, which is digital. It's like a big touch screen, which is a little intimidating, but also awesome. And new mic arms. The whole thing got revamped because of an LWML grant. So we at KFUO specifically are very, very thankful for those LWML mission grants, because we have certainly been blessed by one of them
I
ourselves.
now don't have to peer through a tiny little space between all TVs to be able to see Sarah as I'm in the same room with her.
It's true.
Trying to have a conversation.
Your whole neck has to do a 90-degree angle to
our previous studio, we had only one less mic, so we could fit almost the same amount of people in here. But if you can imagine sitting at a table and having a wall in between you and the people you're trying to talk to, we had a wall of monitors in front of us, as the board operator, and then the people on the other side trying to have a conversation. And then one person was always stuck in the corner. That was usually Bree. But now nobody's
second job syndrome.
Nobody is stuck in a corner anymore. We can actually have these conversations and see everybody's faces. And it has really just been really wonderful. We have been so excited to use this technology. So We are super thankful.
Great. And honestly, technology is, where would we be without it right now, especially COVID?
Mm-hmm. I wanted to know more about what COVID actually did positively. I know we all have our own horror stories of how terrible those year or two it still is for a lot of people. But a lot of people also found these blessings and these things that wouldn't have happened had COVID not happened. So what are some of those silver linings that have happened with LWML because of all of this that we've had to kind of pivot through in the last couple of years?
Okay. I think first on a personal level, blessings were that I never felt alone or disjointed from the rest, because I'd get the most encouraging emails and phone calls from my sisters in Christ. Mm-hmm. I also absolutely every Sunday, my husband and I would say, where should we go to church this morning? Because you could choose, across the nation, all of these different pastors that we've met because of LWML. And so we got to go to a different church as often as we wanted, which was really nice. LWML, we did as a board get together as we knew everything was shutting down. And we had to explore, because we are the business for LWML. We had to explore what would happen if groups weren't meeting, they weren't collecting their mission dollars, their mites. What were we going to do as far as were we still going to be able to make our budget, pay our staff? Mm-hmm. And so we had to look for a contingency plan. Turns out that was not an issue at all.
Oh, good.
God just provided. Mm-hmm. The LWML groups throughout the nation came up with these incredibly innovative ways they had drive-up mite boxes.
Oh, wow.
They had somebody that would go around and they would leave their mite boxes on their porch, and somebody would collect them. The money kept coming in. Mm-hmm. The mission dollars kept coming in, because that's how important it is to our supporters. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to just say LWML women. We have a lot of men that also support the LWML. Mm-hmm. And week after week, we have thousands of dollars just pouring in to support those mission grants, because I think they weren't stopping at Starbucks every day. And they were, and so groups would say, hey, if you didn't stop at Starbucks every day, you must have at least $20 extra in your wallet. And everybody was going, yeah. And so both in a personal way of keeping in contact with and being encouraged by other women across the nation, and not just for me, but I mean each woman of the Lutheran Women in Mission, but the funding, we just really just kept going. But LWML is also a one-on-one personal connection. Mm-hmm. We love technology, and this is great, but it is that actual invitation to come to a Bible study or to come with me to church that makes a difference. And we never want to lose that. So we were very happy when things opened up again.
Yes. As were we all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to take it in a slightly lighter tone.
All right.
So as we discussed this morning, I enjoy pins. And currently I'm wearing a pin. It's an egg pin. But you also have a special pin, and they always have, there's a lot happening with this pin. And from what I understand, you can interpret this pin and know something about the person wearing it. What does your pin mean? How do you interpret this pin?
Okay. I have on my president's pin. Uh-huh. And it's all rhinestoney, which is really nice. It has a gavel.
Okay.
And when the gavel is up, when my term is over next June, I will receive a pin with the gavel laid down.
Oh.
So I will still get to have my little bling here. Uh-huh. But if you notice, there are 3 circles.
Yes.
I can't see it.
Yeah. There's 2
they're different
lower
shapes.
circles, and then like a triangular circle.
So that is representing the triune God and the Trinity. But it is also looking at, since each one of those is they're different shapes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's our differences. Our differences in culture, our differences in ages, in everything, but we all come together and we are all unified by Christ.
Okay.
Is the national president's pin any different than a district president's pin, or are they all the same pin
The district president's pin, I think, is a little smaller.
Okay.
That's appropriate.
And is there any color significance? This one is gold.
I have a gold one and a silver one.
Okay.
Oh, so it's just fashion.
Yes.
Okay.
Just fashion.
Yeah. We're going to have to get a photo of this pin for our show notes and our Instagram because people are going to want to see it. You can take it off if you'd rather, but
yeah, please.
Because I can see it just barely out in the distance, but I feel like it would be much more impressive up close.
We'll get you a photo.
All right.
I'm so glad we've asked that question because I've been wondering this for many years. What the president's pin means. I always thought that it was a T. I didn't realize it was a gavel.
That's a gavel.
Because I don't like to stare awkwardly at.
What does the T mean?
What would T stand for? Tyrannosaurus or something?
Tyrannosaurus or something.
I'm here for dinosaurs.
I don't know. Wow.
So that makes
a gavel.
That makes way more sense than the letter T. So every past president then also wears a pin, because I know when we go to conventions and past presidents are there, they're also wearing the pin, but I have not realized that the gavel is different. Now that I know it's a gavel.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm gonna be like weirdly staring at everyone's pins at national convention.
Are there pins without a gavel? Like
there are.
Okay. So
there are. Young women have a pin very, very similar to this when you become a young woman representative. So each district, at the district level, the zones, which are like the LCMS circuits, can send young women representatives to the district convention. And we do the same thing at the national convention. Each district sends young women representatives. Basically, this is a young woman who has a passion for her Lord and wants to learn more about Lutheran women in mission. And we do that. And actually, one of you was a young woman.
I was. Many years ago. I was going to ask you to tell more about this because if there are women, young women out there, and by young ladies, I think it's under 35. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. Which is
18 to 35.
18 to 35. So it's a very
is.
inclusive age range.
Contact your district Lutheran Women's Missionary League president and get an application form, because you do have to
absolutely do it. It was a wonderful memory for me. I know what it was. It was 19 years ago because I was pregnant, expecting my first child, who just turned 18.
Wow.
And it was such a wonderful experience. I came away just refreshed and inspired, and with all the songs stuck in my head, and having received a gazillion hugs and seen even more smiles, and also have gotten a vision for how Lutheran women get the job done. Because these conventions are so much fun, so like brimming, bubbling over with joy, but at the same time, everything that's on that agenda gets done in an efficient, professional, positive, forward-looking way. And so when you described how your team came together and how the various chapters came together to adjust for COVID, didn't surprise me one iota. That you guys just pivoted and went with it and continued to get the job done.
These women are incredible.
So
they are. And you were talking about convention and YWRs, which young women representatives. Can I talk about convention?
Yeah.
I started it.
In Milwaukee, our theme is Celebrate the Lord of the Nations. So that is based on our scripture verse, Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people whom he has chosen as his heritage. The Lord looks down from heaven. He sees all the children of man. Psalm 33, 12 through 13. So we're looking at unity. We're looking at being together as one in Christ. And we really do love to have young women come because we want them to understand that, yes, there is some business, but it's actually minimal for our convention versus other conventions, because, that's what a convention is. It's the business of the organization. But more than that, we do hear from many missionaries, our Mites in Action speakers, that share with you what's happening throughout the world, not just in your own communities here in the United States, but throughout the world. And you get to hear those heartfelt stories of people that didn't know Christ, and what happens when they realize that they are loved and cared for and forgiven. And boom, it is a proven fact that Bible studies have more participation after a convention. People you go to service projects much more because they're all excited. And then a lot of those young women then are now leaders today. So convention is about inspiration and about education and serving as well as business.
Yeah.
So exciting. And it is an investment because you do have to have a hotel. You do have to find a way to get there. I mean, it is an investment of not only your time, but your money. But it is tenfold a blessing.
I'm so excited.
Please.
So how can young women, can they still apply to attend the national convention this summer, and how would they do that? Knowing that some of our listeners out there are under 35.
Hopefully.
They would actually, if they contact someone either in their local church that is in Lutheran Women in Mission, or if they talk to their district president and get an application form. I believe, I honestly don't know, each of the 40 districts does it differently, but I bet you they have not all chosen their young women yet.
Okay. Because that would be exciting.
Even if it would, and even if maybe their young women have been chosen, the convention registration is not
absolutely
yet.
You can still go.
You don't have to be a young woman representative to be a young woman at the convention. You can still come. So just come.
Why is this particular summer convention one that women should, circle on their calendars and register for and show up for? What exciting is coming this summer that we can look forward to?
Everything. Everything.
Well, I mean, this will be a post-COVID experience, which
it will.
Honestly,
and we did have our Lexington convention.
Yeah.
But we hit kind of a bubble.
Yeah.
They opened everything up, and then 3 weeks after the convention, they started closing down again because that second variation came in. So
slid it in there.
That was God, plain and simple. And we had a great showing at that convention. What makes this convention special? I think every convention is very special because every convention is unique. But this one, we have an opening worship and a sending service at the end of the convention. And both of them, it is absolutely amazing to be with thousands of women and men and be listening to that service and that singing and that proclaiming of our Father. So that is a highlight. If you ask any woman that comes, they're going to say that the worship services are absolutely a highlight. Pastor Lueck is the North Wisconsin District President. He is our opening proclaimer. Reverend Roosevelt Gray is our sending service proclaimer.
He's wonderful.
Our keynote speaker is Reverend Dr. Gregory Seltz.
Oh, good choice.
So he was the Lutheran Hour speaker, as you all know, but he is now Lutheran Center for Religious Liberty. He's been working for them and serving the Lord that way since 2017. And so especially with Celebrate the Lord of the Nations and looking at our theme, he's kind of going to bring that all together. As you all know, in this political climate, we do need to look at and stand firmly on Scripture. And that's what he works towards, that religious liberty. We need to be bold. So that's what we're going to be talking about a lot at convention, is standing our ground with the love of Christ.
Yes.
You got to put that in.
Yeah, you got to have them together.
So, and we always have comic relief, but they always bring it around to center around the gospel. And then you're not going to believe this.
What?
You're going to hear it first here.
Oh, boy.
We have the most incredible Saturday evening entertainment. Yes.
What? Who
we
is
have
it?
4 ladies from the Lutheran Ladies Lounge.
Oh.
Wait,
4.
what?
And I have no idea what they're going to do when they get up there on the couch. But we're going to just let them do their thing.
What day is that? Hold on, I got to open my calendar.
Can you put that on your calendar, Brie?
What? I didn't know about this.
We're still figuring out exactly what we're going to do.
We know exactly what we're doing.
Actually,
Rachel.
we know exactly what we're doing. We know exactly what we're doing.
We have
And
several planning documents right now.
we do know that we will be celebrating the love of Christ and the joy of being Lutheran women together.
Yeah,
Like, if you want to know the theme of our little dog and pony show, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. There will be a lot of joy.
No dogs or ponies will be harmed in the making of this entertainment.
Joy and jello.
Joy and jello. That's what we need to call it.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, but a whole lot of joy.
Mhm.
Yes. It's going to be super fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
We got to keep writing our script,
too.
but
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
don't get too scripted.
oh no.
we won't.
Okay.
no.
It'll be
Parts of it need a bit of a script and parts of it are going to be completely off the cuff and it's going to be
There's a reason they invited me to do podcast only content because
pre-recorded.
like
I can edit stuff when we're pre-recorded, when we're live.
If you want
So
to know
you-
what
you
Bree is
were-
talking about, come to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
they're gonna have one of those shepherd's trucks and they're gonna yank me off stage with it. Like, get
You
off the
have-
stage, lady.
You were in Lexington
Yeah,
and you did a trivia.
we
Yes.
did.
I want you to know that I think there were like 3 questions I did not know to the answer to. So it was like, oh man,
Wow.
where do you find this stuff?
Well,
Yeah.
in the
Yes.
online history books of the Women in Mission
And I really have
organization,
them.
which is that's one of the things that I really love. It makes our job easy. The fact that, when I talk about how, despite the fact that you're pretty much all volunteers, the professionalism that comes out and the work that has gone into documenting your own history and the story of how God has worked through all these women is just amazing. So we can include resources in our show notes to anyone who, like me, wants to take a deep dive into LWML history because it's there,
Oh, fantastic.
which I appreciate.
And then once they look at the history, just like when you look at the Bible, then you want to continue that and see what the future
Yes.
holds.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well,
right?
we've talked about our grandmother's LWML. As a mother, I want to know, what does my daughter's LWML look like? What are you excited about for the future of Lutheran Women in Mission?
I really believe that this organization is alive and well because we constantly focus on Christ.
Mhm.
If we waver off that path, he gently brings us back. Me personally, he slaps and throws back on the path, but he gently brings us back and reminds us why we are here and what our mission is. And I think as long as we have that focus, we have God's favor and he will make this whole organization thrive. And he will do that through you and through your children and your children's children until we all meet in heaven.
Mhm.
And so how do I see that? I see us serving and holding each other accountable. And this is at every age and every level.
Mhm.
I see us encouraging each other and being in the Word. And when you're unified like that, everything comes together. They may do it in a totally different way. We may have smell-o-vision, right?
That would be awesome in most cases, but not always.
We may end
Not
up
all.
back in heels and hose, hats and purses, or hats and gloves. We
may.
don't
You
know.
just don't know.
The world
I'd
is a
be-
weird
I'm
place.
on board for hats and gloves.
So for LWML's 100th anniversary, let's
yeah.
do that.
Mhm.
That's not that far away.
No,
It's not.
Yeah.
So,
That would be awesome.
so I'll leave that all up to you all.
Mhm.
Okay.
You can plan that
sweet.
or
I
have
love
your
it.
children plan that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Debbie, I have a more personal question for
Yes.
you.
I love
I'm
it.
veering away from business now. So I am curious, do you have any analog hobbies? So let me define that for you. So that would be a hobby.
She says
that,
because I looked really confused.
Or
I
as
saw that
people,
from here. I was like, dang.
Debbie, as people used to call them, hobbies.
Yeah, that's true. Hobbies that don't involve a screen. So like watching TV and surfing the internet, things like that. I sort of think you do based on a comment you made earlier, and I really want to know about it.
Ooh. Okay, you're gonna. If I don't, yes,
Yeah, I'll be following up if you don't give me the answer I expect.
I
This
do.
is a serious question here.
I love to bake.
Oh.
I love to do Sudoku.
Oh,
I love
I love I'm a watercolorist.
Oh,
Yes.
Wow, you are hitting all of us. Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
Renaissance woman over here.
Yeah. I didn't expect those answers.
Oh.
The one that I
dear.
expected to have more detail about
Okay.
is you said you received a table saw
Oh,
for a birthday present. And I want to know
Actually,
what you're doing
Christmas.
or Christmas. I want to know what you do with a table saw.
I do absolutely nothing with the table saw. What? The table saw broke and we need a new table saw. So it is our Christmas gift. So my husband, feeling really bad that I was getting a table saw, said, how about I get you a microwave? So we're very domestic.
Okay. So that's more of a household.
It really is.
contribution.
It is.
Also,
However, I'm pretty good with a Dremel.
Oh,
carving.
okay.
wow. Learning so many things right now.
Yes.
So, on a semi-related note about baking, do you make
yeah.
pies? This is a twofold question. Do you make pies? And if you do, would you be comfortable throwing a pie in my face?
This is serious.
This is serious.
Okay, and giving you a very serious answer. I do make pies. I do not make the shell. I buy them,
Okay.
That's okay.
That's fair.
and I cannot tell you that I don't think I could throw one in your face.
Okay. No, that's good to know. I was wondering.
I don't think I could throw one in your
far.
face.
This is part of our convention planning.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought it would be a great idea for you to throw a pie in my face, but if you're not comfortable with that,
Crisis of
I bet you
conscience
there's somebody on our
carrying
board
out on
that
the
wouldn't mind.
stage live.
All right.
You
We might be able to find someone.
need to know what our convention planning meetings are like.
Mhm.
About every 30 seconds, Bree says, but what about a pie in my face?
if you would like to throw a pie in my face at the LWML National Convention, please email us at LutheranLadies@kfuo.org.
Please include pie in the face in the subject line.
Yes, please.
That could maybe be a booth activity if we get enough responses.
Oh, it's
It
like a
could be-
dunk tank, only with pies in the face.
Right.
I'm going to have to make a brie berry pie.
Yes. I love that. I love you, Debbie.
Whipped cream.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I love you too, Brie.
And if you do come up with a brie berry pie recipe, give it to Erin and we'll do a recipe card episode.
Yes, we will.
Debbie Larson's brie berry pie
That's right.
Mhm.
recipe.
Ooh, my mind is going now.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So excited.
We got a nut out of that one. That's awesome.
Well, oh, my voice is going away. We're laughing too much. We are recording an episode while we're at the LWML
It's
convention.
true.
So a recipe card of a brie berry pie at our booth at the
Would
convention
be intriguing.
would
There
be
could be taste tests
quite
involved.
spectacular.
Might be.
We can make this happen
We'll think about it more.
somehow.
You come up with the recipe. We'll see what we can do with it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Put our creative genius together.
Write that down.
I actually am going to because we're going to forget as soon as we walk out of the studio.
And someone
It'll
will walk
surface
up
3
to
years
us at
later.
convention and say, weren't you going to do like a huh?
Yes. Someone will remember and
Right.
reading this.
Yeah.
And we'll
It's
be
gonna
like,
no, it's going to be 2026 and we'll be in a show planning meeting. And I'll be like, remember the brie berry pie contest we were going to have?
Uh-huh.
Maybe next year.
That's right.
I love this
So,
so much.
Speaking of pies and
Yeah.
calories,
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
there is also a mission walk at the convention. And
Reeling us back in.
yes, you could
Smooth.
we could actually have people on both sides with pies. And you could see if you could make it through.
It's the pie gauntlet.
Just
Pie gauntlet. I love that for us and
Do you get to
myself.
plan these things at convention, Debbie, or do you not get to plan stuff because you come up with these kind of ideas?
they do have to tone me down.
Mm.
I get the look a lot. Do you know what I mean by the look?
Oh, yeah, I
yes.
know exactly what you mean, Debbie.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean.
And the pastors, the counselors sigh a lot.
Oh,
so,
no.
Oh, I
Do
feel
they
that.
face palm? Because if you can
Deep
make a
spiritual
pastor
level right
counselor
here.
face palm, it's like really
I'm
special.
kind of thinking about this pie gauntlet.
Boy.
Uh-huh.
We do have a convention programming committee,
Yes.
but I am on that committee. Just saying.
Sounds like you need one of us on that committee. Just saying.
I think we
Something
probably
like
should
that.
think about wrapping this up because by the end of this, there will probably be, I don't know, who could say what Debbie will have committed to for the LWML Convention Planning Committee.
Convention committee
You probably shouldn't put Bree and I together.
Aired all of this, and now
Woo!
There'll be a llama petting station, a little laser tag.
Stop talking, Rachel. Stop it.
We have llamas about a mile from us. But I'm not bringing them to convention, Bree.
Oh, but we can go there.
Surely you could smuggle one into a guitar case. I feel like.
Yes, we probably should wrap this up. We are far off our script, and that is totally cool.
Or for the course.
They didn't give me a script, by the way.
It's true. We're just throwing stuff at you.
Mm-hmm.
And you are just smashing it out of the park.
Yeah. You should probably join us more often, honestly.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
So as we're wrapping this up, because we are just about at our hour also, do you have any final words for women that you want them to know about LWML or encouragement for women who are considering joining up with the LWML?
Final words.
Yes. Last word.
Sounds so ominous.
I know it does.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just can't imagine when you go through hard times in your life that you don't have a sister in Christ that you can talk to, that you can confess and say, I did this horrible thing, or I'm having a really rough time, and that someone will understand you and love you anyway, as Christ loves you. And I think that you find that in a group of Christian women. And I do think that I know there are a lot of groups, women's groups throughout all the churches. What I love about Lutheran Women in Mission is that you can see the one-on-one personal connections, but you can also see the bigger picture as to how, when you all come together, that you can make a huge impact for God throughout the world. And that, to me, is something that I want every woman to be part of. Like I told you, I didn't grow up in the LCMS. And so when I joined my first LWML group, I felt like I belonged and I felt that I had purpose. And I want that for every woman of the LCMS.
That's beautiful.
Oh,
So where can women find information about LWML? We got to give you a plug for your website and Facebook and socials and everything.
Yeah, LWML.org.
Easy enough.
Easy peasy.
Everything is on there. And we'll, of course, put lots of links in the show notes for ladies to
so
find
many
all of,
links.
Okay, great.
all of that information, all of those places to connect. Debbie, it's been super fun having you in studio with us today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
And we'll see you in Milwaukee this summer.
I can hardly wait. I get to meet you in person and not just on a video screen in Connecticut. That will be so, I can't wait, you guys.
Yeah.
It will be wonderful. And ladies, we will be in Milwaukee. So if you're listening and you would like to not only go to the convention, but also see us and our shenanigans live, we'll put a link in the show notes for how to register for LWML convention as well. It's going to be amazing. Lexington was my first one. What was that, a year and a half ago, I guess, at this point? It was super fun. So many things happening. So definitely consider registering to go to Milwaukee this summer if you are able to do that. And you can join us also in our Facebook group if you're not there, the Lutheran Ladies Lounge on Facebook. We have lots of community in that group, lots of posts every day. We passed 17,000 women in that group a little bit ago. So it is massive. We're also on Instagram. If you are on Instagram, you can follow us at Lutheran Ladies Lounge. We do have exclusive content on our Instagram that does not go on our Facebook page. So follow us there as well and tag us in your stories if you have fun stuff to share with us, and we'll share it to our story as well. You can find all of our podcasts at kfuo.org/Lutheran Ladies Lounge or on your favorite podcasting app or on the KFUO radio app. And if you want to get Lutheran Ladies Lounge in your inbox, you can find out how to do that in the show notes for this episode, or you can send us an email, lutheranladies@kfuo.org, and we'll get you signed up for our e-newsletter list. You're listening to the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast. I'm Sarah.
I'm Erin.
I'm Brie Hee Hee. I'm stealing that for life.
I'm Rachel.
For life.
Also for life.
Views and opinions expressed on the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast may not represent the official position of the management or ownership of KFUO Radio, the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. The Lutheran Ladies Lounge is produced by KFUO Radio and available at kfuo.org or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave a review for us too. If you love the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast, consider financially supporting our producer, KFUO Radio, so we can keep doing what we do. Find out how at kfuo.org/give. So this, speaking of coffee, this is a latte my husband made me this morning, and he even put it in a travel mug so I could bring it with me.
Nice. Wow.
That's a nice one, Luther.
Coffee is his love language now. He's like,
wow.
Let me make you a latte. Like, okay.
And my husband goes out and checks the tires in the car and washes the windshield, and he does those things that I don't like to do.
That's amazing. I do
that
my
is
own
also
tires,
amazing.
and
Yeah.
I think that is such a gift. My tires are chronically finicky, so I have a lot of experience with my tire gauge.
Yes. We had a flat tire on our vacation.
Oh no!
So
Not a bike tire, a real tire?
No, a bike tire is way easier to deal with. Car tires are much bigger and more expensive. Our alignment is slightly off on the car, so like the tire rubs weirdly, so the inside of it just like shreds off eventually. That's like
We had
great
that
idea.
issue after our summer road trip this year.
Ew. And you don't know what's happening until the tire is flat, and then you take the tire off, and you're like, oh, this has been happening.
Oh,
for
we
a
knew
year.
it was happening. The front of the car went like this.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
So it's fixed now.
That's
that
good.
was part of my birthday present.
That is so exciting. I got a table saw.
Wow.
I think I'd rather have a table saw, all told, than new tires and a realignment. But it was what I needed at the time.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Now I have a new question. I'm adding it to our list.
Yes. This is great. Great content. I have been recording for the last 5 minutes, so some of this might end up as outtakes.
Aaron, I cannot tell you how much I love and miss your fried egg brooch.
Yes.
Probably my favorite single piece of accessory from you. And I know you have many, but this is like special.
She was telling me she gets a lot of jokes. I wish I could think of a yoke. Sorry.
Debbie Larson got jokes.
Oh, Aaron, that's fantastic.
Yeah.